Hello everybody, it's me, the Boss Hog. I'm back after a couple of weeks away with some updates. This weekend we're going to be doing a motivation video just because I haven't quite caught back up on my portfolio yet. But there's lots to update you on, so let's do it. Alright, so yeah, this is me. I think I'm a bit more groomed since I was last on video, so that's a good start. I've changed up the format for this, so let's just go over it. So I'm going to do updates, things that went well, what was solid, and things that didn't go well. So let me know if you prefer this format. Personally, for me, I think this is going to be a little bit better. The rag status was really just to kind of get me over my initial hump. Now I think kind of this more encourages a bit more reflection and a bit more detail. That's my initial thoughts anyway. So in terms of updates, we're going to do each box. So in terms of updates, I think I mentioned I was taking some time away. Had the better part of 2 weeks off. The only drawback was that my wife was ill for the first couple of days, so I had a bit more childcare than I was expecting. But then since then, I was able to sort of relax properly and have some time on myself. I did start a new job. So far, it's going reasonably well. I'll touch on that in a bit more in a second. But I have a head of customer finance position at what's called an altnet. So this is like an alternative network. These are the kind of companies that are building fiber networks effectively. So there's quite a few of them at the moment. It's about 50. So hopefully I picked a good one. I think I did. I did a lot of due diligence on the company before joining it, and so far it's just working out great. My wife and daughter are currently in Poland with my in-laws, and they are out there till the 12th of November. So I am kind of a bachelor, which is mostly good. I do kind of miss it a little bit, but broadly speaking, I like a little bit of me time. So that's been good. And actually, I think this is worth calling out. I did join the gym. I used to be a lot fitter than I am now. I went to a military school, used to run a lot, used to lift weights, etc. I've never been especially huge because I did a lot of that stuff before I like bulked out in my 20s. Um, but I did join the gym and I have been going, so yeah, I think that's worthy of an update as well. In terms of what went well, I mean, it wasn't very easy for me to switch off, to be honest with you. It took me like 3 days, I would say, before I actually felt properly switched off. You know, I was like wrapping up work until like 3 a.m. from my previous company, then like had to go into work to return my like laptop and stuff. So, and then like I say, my wife got ill, so it wasn't really until sort of Thursday, you know, bearing in mind I finished the Friday before, that I actually sort of started to relax a little bit. But when I did relax, I was able to like properly switch off. That's one of the good things about my temperament. Like it can take me a little longer than maybe average to get somewhere, but once I get there, then I can like properly switch off. So that's good and bad, I suppose. In terms of the new job, I mean, I'm actually surprised in a way that how quickly everything's got up and running. Literally on my second day, my boss was like, "Liam, I need a budget for next year." I was like, "Okay, I don't know anything yet. You know, like what does that look like?" You know, and there's some challenges, which is what I was expecting. So broadly speaking, the job is what I was expecting. It's just everything's moving a bit quicker, but again, that's no bad thing. I kind of want to be in a company that moves quicker. You know, I was working for a company not too long ago that got bought by BT, and I specifically didn't want to go and work for BT. It's just too big of an organization for me. So this is much more my speed, I suppose. Gym's also been going quite well. You know, it's all very well joining the gym, but you have to actually go. So I've been 8 times in 3 weeks. I'm quite happy with that, and technically I've still got a couple of days of my third week, so I'm going to try and do at least one more time. I've been doing solid sessions, like typically sort of about an hour and 15, an hour and a half each time. Bit of cardio, some weights, some sit-ups. I'm most pleased actually with my kind of chest and upper body strength. I think kind of doing 24 reps at 70k is not so bad. I know to some people that's going to be really lame. I think actually for me a nice sort of medium to long term target is to be able to bench 100k. I've never benched 100k. Even when I was in good shape, I got up to like 95. And hopefully, you know, my weight will then come under 100k and I'll be able to say I can lift myself. So that I think is going to be a good target. But honestly, I'm quite happy with how I've started. My cardio is held up quite well. My lower back, I guess my core more generally, my lower back and my tummy feel a bit raw at the moment every time I touch them. But my chest especially already to me feels a bit more toned, and that's kind of motivating. So yeah, I'm actually really pleased with that as well. And last, in terms of what went well, reading was pretty good. I was happy. I nearly read 2 full books during the last couple of weeks. I read sort of a strategy meets philosophy work by a Japanese samurai called The Book of Five Rings. I would describe it as kind of military in the kind of Sun Tzu way, meets sort of philosophy in Laozi. So I'm not too knowledgeable about Asian philosophers. I'm actually trying to improve that. It's a bit of a gap in my philosophy knowledge. So yeah, it's kind of military study and reflection meets personal philosophy. It's pretty interesting. It is slightly strange reading Eastern philosophy. It's quite different to what you might read in the West. It kind of is less direct and more ambiguous. Like you're meant to reflect, I think, a lot more. And it is what it is. But I did enjoy it, to be fair, and so that was cool. And the other one was actually recommended to me by a subscriber, so thank you very much for that, which was the Education of a Value Investor by Guy Spear. I've actually really enjoyed reading this, and I think actually a lot of my subscribers and audience would enjoy reading this as well. For me personally, it was very useful from two perspectives, especially. First of all, he spends quite a lot of time talking about how he dealt with the financial crash. He kind of largely missed the tech bubble, but got massively caught up in the financial crash of 2008. Lost like half of his wealth, including like some of his money from his dad. And kind of has a lot of doubt about that. And I think kind of for anyone who's started investing recently or got caught up in all the excitement, actually it's a good lesson on kind of not compounding mistakes and kind of like making sure that you at least learn from the mistakes that you do make. The other reason why I like the book is because actually he spends a lot of time, and ultimately is the purpose of the book, kind of explaining that everything that he'd been through has kind of made him not just become a better person, although that's probably true as well, but like work out what kind of person he actually wants to be. Which again, for me, I've kind of been asking very similar questions quite recently. So again, I sort of connected with the book really strongly. It's also, I have to say, like very good for kind of referencing other works that are often very eclectic. I mean, like he mentions a book about like ants because of how they like have organization in chaos, right? And that's like a mention of the stock market. And things like that, right? There's all kinds of like reading material that you can kind of redirect from reading, sort of a lot about neuroscience as well, and like the psychology of markets, things like that. So yeah, I definitely recommend both of those books. I think for my audience, it's more likely to be the second one, but anyone again who's interested in sort of philosophy might enjoy the first one as well. So I was very happy with my reading, honestly. In terms of what was solid, I only played 2 poker sessions, and to be honest with you, I'm surprised because I thought I'd be like down at the casino every night. I love poker, and I don't often get a chance to play. But I think kind of a combination of kind of new job, and I've just been very tired. Yeah, I just like haven't necessarily been in the right frame of mind to play, so I just didn't really want to. I don't need to play. But I think like where I'm new at work and where like I'm having to have a lot of conversations, that to me is quite tiring, if I'm honest. It doesn't come naturally. I'd much rather just be in a spreadsheet. So I have just been tired, and therefore I've only been twice. I had 2 very uneventful sessions, about 7 hours combined for 330 quid. So in fairness, a good hourly profit. And really, I just had one big hand, which was like a coin flip that I won for like £200. And even that isn't a huge hand, it's big. So yeah, so I guess was solid. I liked how I played. I didn't make any mistakes. I didn't make any huge moves either. And yeah, just solid. So that was fine. I'm surprised I didn't play a little bit more, but reasonably happy. I did some good cooking. I didn't do as much as I was expecting, and to be fair as well, I did have a few takeaways where I was being a bit lazy. I've been focusing on beef and fish. Beef because I like beef anyway, but also like it's one of the few meats that doesn't seem to have gone up ridiculously in price. So actually, beef now seems quite affordable. But I like beef, and my daughter likes beef as well. So that's good. But actually, fish is another one where again, my wife doesn't like fish at all, or other than monkfish and like turbot and stuff. But I'm not cooking that. So yeah, so I've just been focusing on stuff I don't cook at home so often. Nothing super fancy. Like today, I made like a big tilapia and some Mediterranean veg, but like a huge fish actually. I just cooked it really basic, but like 3 portions of fish that will keep me going for a little while. And yeah, so again, nothing super fancy. I haven't been cooking every night, but I've been doing a solid job considering it's just myself at home. So no real complaints. Likewise, while investments are doing reasonable, I mostly managed to not look at my portfolio whilst I was switching off. I did once or twice log into the trading app. Overall, my portfolio still is down about 2%, but actually I'm very happy with things overall. I continue to slightly outperform the S&P 500 and slightly underperform the FTSE 350. A lot of that's just to do with my portfolio mix, to be honest with you. So yeah, currently I'm kind of more or less just trading parallel in between the two, but I continue to be reasonably happy. I think I've got a lot of kind of potential in some of my holdings that should do me just fine over the years when things recover. So again, I feel actually very fine considering I'm down a few thousand. Family time was okay. There was a couple of things to mention. So first of all, like it took me a bit longer to switch off because my wife like caught a moderate cold before she went away. So it just meant I was doing a few more nursery runs and a bit more childcare than I was expecting. Like my wife specifically wanted me to switch off as much as possible. Like, you know, I've been promising I was going to have a break between jobs for over a decade. So finally did. And so yeah, so that was a bit frustrating for us both, I think, actually. But that was, again, it was okay. I do actually quite like being a father and getting involved in that kind of stuff. So it's not the end of the world. And likewise, to be honest with you, like I've been available on Skype since my wife and daughter have been away, but they're just having so much fun with the grandparents that I haven't actually spoken to my daughter once, and I've just been like having like Skype exchanges with my wife very periodically. So I'm like, okay, you know, they're having fun. I'm gonna sort of make sure I'm available, but broadly speaking, just enjoy my bachelor lifestyle. So okay. And last point here, I have been playing chess, but again, mostly it's been studying and kind of sensible play, I would say, instead of like playing dumbly. I was most pleased. I actually beat my third 2400 player. That's like when the chess players get really, really good. But I was most proud of this one because the other two victories I've had, basically my opponents kind of messed up. Whereas this one I played a really sharp tactical line. Actually, the Grunfell, for those who are either like chess or, you know, watched my video on the topic a few weeks ago, it's a very sharp position for both players, and I was basically able to beat him. And I checkmated him. You know, he didn't make any huge blunders. I just gradually increased my advantage until I mated him with a knight and rook, which is always nice. So yeah, I'm honestly like legitimately pleased with that. My first, like, it feels like I earned that victory over a 2400 player. So that just felt really good. That, again, maybe my studying helped in that regard, and he didn't make any mistakes and put me under a lot of pressure and difficult calculations toward the end. So again, I felt like I earned it. So I'm actually pretty happy with how my chess went, to be honest. What didn't go well, so my weight hasn't shifted, which is a bit frustrating. I'm still at like 104 kilograms, but to be honest, because I'm going to the gym and like I feel like at least I can see, like, especially my chest, like being a bit more toned, and my tummy as well. You know, I'm doing like 100 to 200 sit-ups every gym session, which is more sit-ups than I've done in about 5 years. So I feel like actually it doesn't matter too much. It's like I'd rather be healthy than a particular weight, which is a little bit arbitrary. And I'm kind of hoping that, again, like as I get a little bit fitter, I'll burn a bit more fat, and it will be that. So I'm kind of like, it didn't go well, and it's a little bit frustrating because I'd like it to go down. But actually, as long as I'm kind of eating reasonably and going to the gym and feel like I'm getting stronger, then I'm not going to beat myself up about it either. So I think that's important. The other thing that didn't go too well, I didn't do really any friend catch up, even though a few of my like friends and colleagues did get in touch. You know, like a recruiter that I'm increasingly getting friendly with. He wanted to see how the new job was going. Then I had an email from the guy I've classed as my best friend. I haven't got back to him yet either, and there was somebody else who reached out to me. So I heard a few people reach out to me that I just haven't replied. That was really kind of a conscious decision. I just didn't want to kind of get distracted or anything like that. But I should do that. That would be something for me to do next week. But again, yeah, I'm not going to beat myself up too much on either of these points just because I feel like they're explainable. I did also realize as well, now that I started recording, I can only have like 2 things that didn't go well, or else my face won't be able to fit on the screen. So yeah, I guess let me know the feedback. That is my update. A few people in Discord were actually asking me when my next video was coming, so and were interested about my motivation and things like that. I would say, just on reflection, I feel much better than I did when I started this series. Like when I started it, like if I was to give myself like a score out of 10, where 10 was like highly motivated and 1 was like, you know, can't get out of bed, I was like 3 to 4 maybe, which for me is like really low. Like I haven't really needed a ton of motivation for my adult life, but it was kind of like, again, yeah, I got to that stage in my life where I was just struggling. Whereas now I feel like I'm more like maybe like a 7 to an 8, like much more like my typical baseline, I would say. I don't think I'm like the most super motivated person by nature, but I was really lacking for direction, whereas now I'm feeling much better. And there's still probably a little bit more improvement I can make. I'm hoping things like gym, a little bit more reading, a bit more structure actually as well, will all kind of help move in the right direction. But broadly speaking, I think these videos have been incredibly useful for me. Hopefully they've been interesting in some way to you guys as well. But honestly, that's the update as I see it. I'll aim to do a portfolio video sort of either Sunday or more realistically Monday. Once again, I've done some reading on lots of company updates and things like that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, everyone. I've been the Boss Hog, and good luck getting motivated. Bye for now.